entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
On your Friday morning, another beautiful summer weekend. Although the weather's actually going to be lousy, not beautiful, but to come your way. And we put this time aside every Friday for the debonair, the handsome, the brilliant Judge Andrew Napolitano. Let me get to something very quickly here. A lot of my brethren Trump supporters, after watching Trump demolish Biden last night,
right.
And Biden killed himself too, we know that, but
right.
The outcome was what it was. A huge, easy blowout win for Trump.
Not even close.
Not even close. So they're nervous now that Judge Merchan, who may have been leaning towards a lenient sentence, now, after watching what happened last night, may have the opportunity to slow down Trump's momentum and take him off the campaign trail if he puts him in jail. They're really nervous that Merchan saw the same thing we saw and is like, how do I slow Trump down with a much harsher sentence? Any credibility to that?
I understand that political fear because I understand the way the political class thinks, but I don't think there's any credibility to that argument at all. Remember, judges are limited in how they can sentence. They have checklists they have to fill out, and the result of those checklists, aggravating factors versus mitigating factors, has to justify the sentence. There are no aggravating factors here. Everything is mitigating. No prior, no victim, no harm to society, no danger by leaving him free. I think you're going to get a custodial sentence that immediately will be suspended and some probation instead.
So you're
now, I've been telling you that for a couple of weeks.
No, you have. But
nothing has come to me that would change my mind.
Well, people believed what you said, but what came to them that changed their mind was last night.
Right. This would be such an outlier political play if he were to do this. I would think he'd be reversed or at least stop the sentence until after Election Day by the appellate courts.
Trump did say last night, yes, I'm a convicted felon, but we're going to appeal this and we're going to win this, of course. But there's some other cases going on right now outside of that New York case. We've got a January 6th case this morning.
So the January 6th case this morning is fascinating. A cop from Western Pennsylvania was part of the January 6th crowd. He was late that day. He got to the floor of the House of Representatives after the members of Congress had been chased out. The joint was empty. He walks through. They see him there. They arrest him. Okay, shouldn't have been there. Could be charged with trespass. Simple trespass, simple fine. Instead, they charged him with obstruction of justice. And the appeal the Supreme Court is going to release today is, can you obstruct justice if you show up at the scene afterwards? Don't you actually have to be part of the obstruction?
Common sense.
Correct. If he wins that case, and I think he will, that cuts out half of Jack Smith's indictment against Donald Trump, even though Trump is not a party to this case.
Jack Smith.
That is what I hope to be analyzing at 10 o'clock this morning.
And you don't have to be a lawyer to figure out that Jack Smith basically had his tail cut off because January 6th was all about one word, insurrection, which the media still, they're liars, they still talk about that day as an insurrection. Jack Smith desperately wanted to charge Donald Trump with insurrection. He couldn't do it.
Well,
he couldn't do it.
There's, first of all, everything Trump did that day was protected speech, whether he's the president of the United States or a private individual. I've spoken and written extensively about. I went through in a piece I wrote, line by line, everything he said on the ellipse. It's all protected speech. Jack Smith knows that. That indictment would have been thrown out immediately. But this January 6th case that's coming out today is not a Jack Smith case. How can you indict somebody for obstruction of justice when they didn't do any act of obstruction? So the Supreme Court will narrow the obstruction statute and take it away from Jack Smith's ability to use against Donald Trump, because whatever he did or said on January 6th was not an act of obstruction.
Well, I could also say to you, how can you charge somebody with 34 felonious counts when they didn't break any laws? That's why people are nervous about Judge Merchan, because all of these cases, Judge, every one of them, from Fonnie Willis down in Georgia to this nonsense on January the 6th, to both cases in New York, Letitia James and Alvin Bragg, at least legally, there's nothing there.
Well, that's why
there's indictments all over the place.
I agreed. That's why we have a Supreme Court, and I think they're going to. I don't know what they're going to do on immunity. That's apparently coming Monday, but I believe January 6th will be coming today.
Well, what do you think, though, about immunity, that case? What's going to happen there?
I think they're going to cut the baby in half. I think they're going to say it's up to a jury to decide what was personal and what was presidential on January 6th. If it was presidential, he's immune. If it was personal, he's not immune. That's bad for him. That means a jury trial. And what's the jury pool? Washington, D.C., 90% Democrat.
Like New York.
85% inner city. Worse than Manhattan, Sid. Worse than Manhattan, that jury pool.
Yeah. You know, we did mention Hunter Biden once last night, President Trump. He mentioned him once, and he said, you're calling me a convicted felon. Well, guess what? Your son is a convicted felon. And a lot of Trump supporters, while they're happy that, yes, he's been labeled that just like Trump has, we want more blood. In other words, the gun charge, the tax deal coming down the road in September, that's nice. But the real meat is allegedly what the Bidens did, including the father, with all of our enemy countries, and that is taking a lot of cash.
Correct.
Do you believe down the road that could happen?
No. Because I think that Joe is going to announce to the country that the problems in Israel and Ukraine are too important for him to spend time running for office, and he's got to devote himself full-time to that.
Is that right?
And he's going back to I honestly think that's going to – I've been saying that for a while, but last night was the icing on the cake. Last night was disqualifying. Talking as a neutral person was disqualifying. But I got to tell you a story. When I was right off the bench, I was working for Court TV, and I was covering a murder trial.
What year was this?
This was 1995.
Because I was on that network all the time. I did anytime there was a sports story.
Jeez, I wonder if we met. Now, we remember if we met in those
anytime,
days.
Like when Jason Williams shot the limo driver.
This is when Steve Brill owned it.
Yeah, so when Jason Williams shot the limo driver. When Allen Iverson got arrested with a gun. So there were two shows that put me on all the time. Because I was a big star at WFAN. This is closer to 2000. It was 2000. It was Kimberly Guilfoyle and Vinny, and it was Catherine Cryer. Those are the two shows I did all the time.
Okay, so I'm covering a murder trial in San Francisco because the murder weapon was a vicious dog. A guy unleashed the most vicious dog imaginable on his neighbor. It killed the neighbor. And I'm interviewing the two prosecutors, the two young San Francisco prosecutors who are prosecuting the case. They got a conviction. It was overturned by the California Supreme Court. They tried a second time. They got a conviction. That one stuck. Those two prosecutors to this day are my dear friends, Gavin Newsom and Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Oh, my God.
Well, they tried. I know they're not good friends, but I'm friends with both of them. They tried the case together. That's how we met. I run into Gavin when he's in New York. He runs up on the street and says hello to me. Kimberly, of course, I had the pleasure of working with for many years at Fox. But Curtis might be onto something about Kimberly.
I hear this. He's not the first to say it. They've been talking about it on Fox News and CNN since last night. Because when you talk about the list of people, if Biden does accept the invitation to step down, it's a very short list. Like we talked about, the Republicans have a big bench. You've got DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott. It goes on and on. The Democrats have two people, Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom. That's it. So it's not earth-shattering to mention Gavin Newsom. What's earth-shattering to me is to expect a guy that destroyed the state of California to be a worthy competitor to Donald Trump.
I happen to agree with you, and I'm going to give you some heartburn. Guess who's on the phone this morning to Barack Obama?
Gavin Newsom.
Hillary.
Oh, Hillary.
You talk
look,
about
I hope she does
going
run.
from bad to worse.
Go run. That's not going to bother me.
No.
I'd love that.
No, not
but I
at
think
all.
you're probably right. She probably is on the phone.
Yeah. I'm not saying she wants to run, but she wants to influence the outcome.
She does, right?
Yeah.
So
she probably does want to run. She still harbors
of
a
course
desire
she does.
for that. Right.
Harbors. She harbors resentment. Worse than desire.
Yes.
She still has people waiting outside the Jacob Javits Center now for 2.5 years, ready to celebrate a big win.
Did those fireworks ever come off that night?
Excuse me, for 7 years. Right. So you really believe in your heart of hearts that Joe Biden will not be the presumptive nominee this November?
Voluntarily, yes. I don't think they could do it involuntarily. Would destroy the Democratic Party.
He has to leave. So.
Yeah, but voluntarily, I think yes. So Barack Obama will call up not Joe but Jill, probably very soon, and say, "We need to come to Jesus with your husband. I'm coming to the White House. We're going to meet for breakfast tomorrow."
But Jill loves being the first lady.
I know
she loves it.
I know, but she's gonna hate it when that first lady becomes Melania.
She is.
Yeah.
So you think
well,
it's...
listen, I'm a legal guy and a constitutional guy here and across the street. So, but I'm wearing a political hat this morning, and those are my thoughts. You bring the politics out of me, oh King of the Jews.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job with that last night, too. I specifically loved it when he talked about, you're going to break my balls about Charlottesville, and you got pro-Palestinians walking all over the streets, all over our major cities, terrorizing people in every major city, and you're going to talk about... I didn't even say it!
Right, he was ready for everything.
He really was, right?
Yes.
He was prepared.
Yes, yeah.
It was not his best performance, but when you couple what he did with how bad Joe Biden was...
You know, I heard a rumor that if the debate was going against Trump, he was going to announce his veep last night, which would have made that the headline story.
Right.
But you don't want to take the headline down when the headline is Joe fumbles, Joe
Which
stumbles.
Which makes sense.
Correct.
We heard all week long that he was going to make that announcement.
Correct.
But they were all there. Doug Burgum was there. Vivek Ramaswamy was there.
They made a call at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Not to make the announcement last night. It was the wise thing to do.
And audible, as Dan Reno did many, many times.
There you go.
Excellent job this morning. I love you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your spotlight across the street.
Thank you. I'll see you next week. Love you, man.
There he is. Love you, too. The great judge, Andrew Napolitano. And he did say, for all you guys that keep texting me, he does not think Judge Merchan will come down any harder on Donald Trump on July 11th because Trump won big last night. He does not believe the judge will do that. He also says the judge has legal limitations, so he may not be able to do that anyway. We'll see. July 11th now, just a couple of weeks away.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.